The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now your host, Nicole Hutchison.
Hello, Cowboys Nation. Happy Wednesday, and welcome into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, right here in the SWBC studio. I'm Nicole Hutchison, alongside Aisha Morrison, Jess Tavares, and Jasmine. I felt like that was a little extra there.
That was a little. That was
okay?
Yeah. We can
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking about me.
Can you?
Well, we heard you.
Oh, I can't.
I was gonna say last week I feel like you hit like an octave a little higher. So this was like, are you going down more? Like, are we hitting all of our ranges?
I think that was. Oh my God!
Can you cut that and
good.
use that for every intro for you?
I
Like
mean,
a variation of how she does
so.
it every week.
she's the host. You know?
Today has been fun. I don't know if fun is actually the word.
It's been fun to me.
It's been fun. It's been dramatic. There's been a lot of drama going on since this morning. I mean, you talk about ESPN reports, and sorry, we'll get. You probably fix it a little bit, but no. Talk about the ESPN reports with former players talking about the tours and the distractions that it kind of brings on the players that are no longer here. And then you also look around the NFL, and there's reports of Titans wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins is being traded to the Chiefs. So
there's a lot going on. I just feel like there's a lot of
on.
fodder that's been feeding into how fans are feeling.
Yeah.
Like the loss of the Lions was a historical loss, and it feels like, although there was a bye week, the fans have not gotten a break. There's been one headline after another, and I think this morning's headlines, people already felt a way about Deontay Fowler, Devontae Adams, and those moves being made right after Jerry Jones said, where are you going to get more players from? I don't know why I was imitating this. She was laughing at me earlier for doing that.
Yeah, no,
But then-
she's been doing that all day. She's been imitating people, and I'm like,
But then on top
great.
of that, you get these additional headlines about the tours, which really feels like an opportunistic release, in my opinion, because I'm not sure that this story would have had the same impact had Jerry Jones not already been in the headlines. But that's kind of why I said it's been a fun day, not because I like that there's drama and that there's that kind of headlines, but some of the conversations that have come up as a result, I think have been very interesting for a person like me who likes to really get into the mind of fans and talk about the fan culture aspect of this sport and this team.
yeah. Aisha and I talked about this off camera last week, I think, when you and I talked about it. I just wish there wasn't so much going on and fans could just enjoy the game, enjoy the football, enjoy the analysis of it from wherever they get their information from, and not every single thing that comes with it. So for me, I look at the headlines and everything, and I guess because we've been doing this for 3 seasons, like I'm used to new headlines every week, every day, every hour sometimes, depending on the day. But what's interesting to me, too, is that the fan base just continues to kind of feed into it in a way. Like, if y'all don't feed into it, it doesn't have to be so dramatic all the time. And that's kind of where I'm at. Like, just enjoy the sport, feel for your team, ride for them, die for them. Like, feel like you need to feel depending on what happens that week. But at the end of the day, man, just enjoy your sport. Like, it doesn't have to be so much where it overtakes your life because of different headlines every day. And that's part of the fun sometimes, but also, like, man, I just want to enjoy the sport. Me personally, I just want to, like, enjoy what I'm here to do, which is cover this team, get good stories, talk to the guys, get good perspectives, and go watch a game on Sunday. Like, I'm not here for everything else.
If I have something to say about it, is this time to say it? And then we're moving on.
Go ahead.
So I'm going to say this. Nobody that I talked to today, and it was a few people, but nobody had anything negative to say. And and when I say that, it wasn't even like well, I don't want to. It was just like a flat out, no, they don't bother me. One person even said that they actually like whenever they pass by towards Norway. So I think There are a couple of things happening here. One, I think people have different perspectives. There are some people who are going to be distracted by that kind of thing and they'll hate it. And there are some people who won't be bothered, right? But I think more than that, what we're seeing from especially the players who are no longer here is I think it's about more than the tours. You read quotes like what came from Tony Pollard, and it's like emotional and spiritual peace aren't going to come about just because you're not around facility tours anymore, right? That's something deeper. And so what I'm suspecting is that the tours just represent an aspect of being a Dallas Cowboy where to a certain degree, you are treated as a product. A couple of guys in that article did talk about the fact that they feel like they don't have a sanctuary in this space, right? But we're talking about 20-something-year-old men for the most part. You're going to have a hard time getting them to communicate about their emotions and their spiritual well-being on that level. So the tours end up kind of being like the centerpiece of a larger issue for them. Mm-hmm. So when you read what Jerry Jones said at the end of the article about focusing on the negatives to get attention, it does kind of have an era of disregard for the humanity of these players, right? So players who feel that, of course, they're going to feel away, right? And so it might not necessarily be that, okay, these tours are the problem, but the fact that I don't have privacy, the fact that I don't have peace, the fact that I should have a sanctuary here and I don't, the fact that I'm treated like a commodity all the time, that's the problem for some people.
Sure, 100%.
Yeah.
And so I really think that's what it is. And so I think if we step back from the tours itself and just look like at how are these players treated? What are they treated like? What is their perception of how they feel like the powers that be feel about them? That's when we'll get to the truth of this situation, as opposed to, well, what some people are saying, you shouldn't be distracted by a group of people walking by. Maybe not. You shouldn't, but it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
But also, like, some fans come in here too, and like, this is an opportunity for them to see an NFL player in real life. Maybe they haven't experienced that before. And like, in those situations, sometimes you don't know how you're going to act until you come in those situations. So it's like, I see all perspectives of this too, Jazz. Like, I see a fan perspective because growing up a Cowboys fan, like, yeah, I would have loved to do a tour and see it. But also, on the professional side of things, talking to the guys in the locker room, they're here for a job. Just like you and I go to a job every day. That is their work, and I think that gets lost in the sauce sometimes, that this is legitimately a job for these guys. Just because they're players doesn't mean they don't have a job to do. And sometimes, like you and I, we wake up, we don't necessarily like want to deal with the extra BS at work sometimes. We just want to go do our job and then go home and do our thing, whatever. They're human too. So I love that you pointed that out, Jazz, because tours are just, it's a... I don't know. It's such a small thing that we won't even worry about this next week. But yeah,
of a bigger thing.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, I agree with both of you all's points. All right, let's get to some football
Let's
talk.
move on.
Because, today has been a day. All right, injury report. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Deron Bland listed as he did not participate. I actually did get a chance to see him working with Britt Brown off to the side. Kalen Carson listed as full. Ryan Flanoy and Eric Kendricks were both limited, alongside John Stevens and Nick Vigil. Michael Parsons did not participate, and Jordan Phillips, full participant. He was actually brought back on the practice squad. So now I believe his 21-day window begins today. Is activated. So, any news, any updates? I'll start with you, Jess, on just the injuries that you feel could possibly kind of alter a little bit.
Yeah, the guys I did talk to, a couple of them mentioned on the list, did have positive outlooks. So that, to me, is a good sign that it's sooner rather than later for return. And I'm not saying necessarily this week maybe, but sooner rather than later, because usually you can get a vibe from a player if it's just not happening anytime soon. You just know. So the vibes I got today are optimistic. Good news. It doesn't seem like there's been any setbacks for any of the guys I talked to today, which, again, were multiple on that list. But other than that, I don't feel like this week is out of the question for a couple of those key guys. But I wouldn't be surprised if the key guys kind of waited a week or two to return as well. It could go either way, and I think when you hear the word game time decision, it is going to be a game time decision.
Yeah, that's something that Jerry Jones mentioned about Michael Parsons and Deron Bland specifically, that it will be a game day decision, game time decision. But now, switching over to the 49ers, they're pretty banged up as well. And we kind of touched on this yesterday, but Eric Kendricks, this is someone who has obviously made an impact within this linebacker room. Can the Cowboys afford to not have Eric Kendricks Sunday against the 49ers? I'll start with you, Jess.
Depends on your definition of afford. It's definitely not an ideal situation because while we've seen that they have other people who can do the green dot role, Eric Kendrick still seems the person best suited. And against an offense like what they're going to face, I think it's important that they have somebody who can make sure that they're in the right place, focused on the right things. It's going to be so important for the defense to be on their P's and Q's. So I think the ideal situation is absolutely to have Eric Kendricks out there, considering his experience and his expertise in the area of just keeping everybody else in line and knowing what their job is supposed to be.
Jess?
For me, yeah, it's obviously ideal to have Eric Kendricks come in. You know, he has the experience with Zim. He knows how to understand. I think a big part of that green dot situation is the verbal and maybe even nonverbal cues from your DC who's helping you in your ear. So Eric Kendricks has that experience, not only just knowing the playbook, how Zim operates, but also Zim as a person and, you know, his tone, what he means when he says things. And, it makes it more efficient and quicker to have somebody like Eric as a green dot. So again, if he's not in, that's not the most ideal. But what I will say, and I know a lot of y'all on Twitter could come for me for this, and that's fine. I'm not down and out on Damone Clark as your green dot because he's had, if you look at who the options are, he's had the most experience wearing that green dot so far in this room with these guys and understanding how to communicate with those around him. And I think that's a big benefit that everybody really overlooks for Damone. He had experience when Leighton went out last year, and he really picked the brain of Leighton, who also picked the brain from Sean Lee, and that, you know, family tree kind of went back to how he learned how to operate that green dot. So for me, I'm not down and out on Damone like a lot of people are. I think if you want the best option, it's giving Damone that confidence back as a player to say, hey, you have the green dot, we're putting this trust in you, and this is your opportunity to show us how you can handle it in this kind of situation against this kind of team. I'm going to go with Damone Clark as the best option for the green dot.
Yeah. What do you think, Aisha?
I mean, the 49ers are different, I'd say, than previous years as far as like what they're doing, as far as they are more simplified right now. And I think that is a product of, you know, the losses they've taken from the skill position, but also, too, dealing with some of the things that they have with their offensive line, some young guys, some different guys like that. They're third highest in rate of motion still. And with the 49ers, the thing about them is that they are guaranteeing, like they're betting on the fact that you're going to distrust your first read and shift and move, and that creates spacing, and that creates opportunity for a team that thrives off of yak. Maybe not as much this year, but they thrive off of yak. And so having a gentleman like a Eric Kendricks would help you just because of the reading aspect. And you look across the pond at a Fred Warner, that's his calling card, is that he gonna read you like a book, sister. And so not having him out there is just every week it's gonna be more harmful. Again, I'm sure he is coaching up the guys on the sideline and everything, but like his IQ would be so helpful in a game like this because, again, this defense is really going to have to trust what they see the first time and not react to what San Fran is doing. I think he could have helped guys stay put with that. I don't know if there's an answer at who does it, who takes on the task. The only good thing, again, is, like I said, they're simpler. And this offense isn't really that much more different than what it was last year. So it could go back to your original point, Jess, is that maybe Damone Clark is the most suited person since he's seen this offense multiple times already from the linebacker position.
You had mentioned yak yardage. This 49ers offense is top 5 in yards after the catch. They've gained 7.6 yards per reception. Sorry, I can't read the rest of my handwriting. But yeah, top 5 this year. That was a stat on Next Gen. So when you talk about that, this is something that the Cowboys have struggled with. Players and offenses that thrive, like you mentioned, with yards after the catch. I mean, do you see somewhat of how they could kind of take advantage of this a little bit in Mike Zimmer's defense?
There's less of. I will say, like, it's interesting that you have that stat because when you go look at the games and you look at how they're operating, they're not getting as many yards after catch as they typically do. I mean, guys aren't just wide open. Purdy is having to fit these balls into some tough spots. I think it's interesting because there's an element of football that we don't talk about, and that's just the base level respect.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, I know how you ain't out here. Hey, man,
Yeah.
I know Kittle over there a little hobbled. Like,
Stop.
And so with that, defenses played them differently, and the Chiefs did a fantastic job just really playing their assignments. But they made San Fran work for everything. I think the Cowboys would be better suited to try to take on that type of approach. Is make them have to play them how people play you. Hell.
Yeah.
Make them have to go down the field, work the field. Brock Purdy makes a lot of his money in the freaking like middle of the field intermediate game. That's kind of where he thrives. He can do the occasional deep pass, but taking that away as like a quick option, really the Chiefs did a great job of doing that last week. So there is a chance that you could shut down some of that just because they don't have their stars right now in general. So Cowboys have struggled with tackling. This is another game where it's like,
Absolutely.
brother, oh brother,
Can you
please
repeat
tackle.
your stat about Yak?
Because I had
top
a
5
different
in
one.
yards after the catch as an offense.
Yeah.
Gained 7.6 yards
Yeah.
per reception. That was on this one right here.
I have a different one too.
I do too.
clubs.ngs.nfl.com/insight/season.
Everyone type that
the
in.
stat that I have says, after leading the NFL in yards after the catch per reception in each of the past 6 seasons, the 49ers have generated just 4.4 yards after catch per reception this season, the second fewest in the league.
Somebody lying.
Well,
that's
what I will say, though,
that's
is
why you can't trust our stats.
Right?
I want to go back to what you
Lord.
said about how that's been their strength. Something interesting I did notice, too, I got this from NFL Network. Thank you. Shout out to NFL Network. The 49ers average 2.83 yards of separation, and this is their catchers, receivers, when the ball arrives, which is the least in the NFL. So what Purdy's really banking on right now is, to either make chunk plays or to be mobile. And when he's making those chunk plays, like you mentioned, he's kind of throwing in a more narrow window, those tighter windows. So again, it's not really what bothers me is here we're talking about tackling and how the Cowboys need to shore that up. You have an opportunity. You have a tight window to tackle with these receivers that really don't seem to be getting a lot of separation right now, to not allow these chunk plays to be happening.
And create
either.
turnovers.
Create turnovers. And also, Purdy wants to be a little more mobile, too. I don't want to call it panic, but when his guy's not open, he's going to be a little more mobile because guess what? He lives in that pocket. He lives in that pocket. That pocket is not going to collapse. That O-line said, this my quarterback, you're not touching him.
Maybe it is at the
He's
tackle
going to be
position.
mobile. He's going to take it upon himself to get out of that pocket. But what I will say is there's an opportunity too, because what I noticed too is like when the defenders drop back, that is what confuses him the most, and that forces him to scramble. So if you drop back, get your defenders to come in.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Talk that talk, sister. Talk that
Crying
talk.
at y'all.
I wouldn't
Maybe
call it
I
panic
missed you
either.
guys.
Are we
I
going?
think it's-
Yeah,
I think
I
it's more
think
so.
panic.
Well, I was just gonna say hesitation.
think it's panic?
That's
I
a
think
better
it's-
word.
It,
for me.
hesitation
Okay.
is probably the best way to say
Yeah,
it.
because
But
I wouldn't say panic.
but
Panic
the,
is like
the scrambling. He's to your point. I guess panic isn't a good word because he typically has a plan when he's
that's
scrambling.
what I'm saying. Like,
But the
But he's second guessing
Controlled
himself.
chaos.
He's holding on to the ball.
because
Right.
some of the things that they're doing again is that they're doing things specifically at the line of scrimmage, motioning, use check, Kittle, all those things to just get you out of the way, to get you in a space to where, your guy's wide open because you went the other way thinking that something was something that's not. It's when with the San Fran offense in general, it's I said it yesterday. It's very much so rhythm and timing. The Lions are like this too. I think they're a little bit more creative, but when Purdy is looking through his reads and it's not there, what I noticed also too, he's not seeing safeties. He's
Oh, yeah, no.
and I
If you congest the middle of that field,
yes,
it's making him a little more confused.
it's
to your point.
disguising on the back end. It's showing one thing, whether it's showing cover one where you got single high safety, and then you're like, okay, just kidding, this is too high. Try to beat it, boss.
Bye.
Like, you have to do things to, and I saw my guy Foot say this, is that you have to change the picture for him. And that's a great way to put it, in a way that he thinks he's seeing something,
Yeah.
and it's maybe not what he's going to say. And this could be a big game. I'll definitely let you. This could be a big game for your safeties to take a step up as well, and making him pay.
Yeah.
For some of these mistakes, because that happened all the time against the Chiefs, man. There were a couple almost picks that that they just missed.
Yeah.
The Chiefs did, because he literally is just not seeing the field well right now.
Yeah.
Because teams are playing it different, because they're just like, we know you ain't got McCaffrey back there. We know you ain't got Ayuk out here.
Yep.
We
Yeah.
know what you guys are going through. So yeah, like,
The thing
make
is, he's
him
not
work
seeing
for
it well, but it feels like he knows he's not seeing it well. And
He's
that's
aware.
what's making him pause and hold on to the ball as long as he is. Like 3.1 seconds, that's a lot of time for our
is.
guys.
It's
So when we're
too much time.
Yeah,
There's a such
when
thing.
When we're
Yeah.
talking about our D-line needing to get more pressures, this is their opportunity to do it, because like 3.1 seconds, that's probably the longest time to throw that they will have faced at this point in the season, I think. And I didn't look at everybody's, but real quick, I did find one stat that says 7.2. It says
Mine says 7.6.
Oh, well, this stat says this stat,
Why
and this
you
is not
always
very.
lying? Why you always lying?
Go ahead, read it.
It says the Cowboys have allowed the most yards after catch per reception in the NFL in 2024 with 7.2 yards.
That wasn't this
Oh,
one. This
Lord.
is 49.
Oh man.
Another stat, hopefully this one is right on next gen, is oh dang it, I lost. Oh no, Purdy without his top 3 wide receivers, he completed 5 of 14 passes for 80 yards. That's most in the NFL. That's for Kittle. Without top 3 wide receivers, he completed 5 of 14 passes, 80 yards, and 3 interceptions versus man coverage against the Chiefs. So this could be an opportunity where the Cowboys could kind of take advantage of when you're talking about the fact that he doesn't have his key weapons. I hope that stat is correct. But we're going to go ahead and take our first break. You're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw, the preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Up next, we're going to be talking about George Kittle and his possibility of him actually playing this game. And who could be other weapons that the Cowboys have to watch out for. So stick with us up next.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
The Dickey family always mandated that the only Polish-style sausage worthy of their restaurant must have high-quality coarse ground beef and pork, rich spices, and fresh natural casings. We still serve it to this day, and it's so popular, Dickey's sausage has been named the official sausage of the Dallas Cowboys. The perfect matchup on game day. Dickey's Barbecue Pit. No one outsmokes us. Order at dickeys.com. For groups, call 866-BARBECUE. Dibs on the ribs.
The the Dallas Cowboys take on the San Francisco 49ers in Santa Clara on Sunday, October 27th. So we're hosting another free watch party presented by 7-Eleven. Join us at the Miller Lighthouse at AT&T Stadium to watch the game with with Cowboys Nation. Cue Thunderstruck because the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders are performing, and Rowdy will be there too. Watch the game, grab a Slurpee, and cheer loud. Get your free tickets today at dallascowboys.com/watchparty.
Watch party. Hopefully.
Yeah. Sorry. I had to do it in Nicole fashion.
Wow, that was great.
Thank you.
I love that
You know
for
what it
you.
remind me of?
What?
Buy me.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Lottery ticket?
Oh my god.
No.
It's a Medea movie.
I thought it was lottery ticket.
I know Jazzy know what I'm talking about. Niche.
I do know what you're talking about, the
Well,
movie, but I thought it
You
was
can't
lottery
remember?
ticket.
It was Tiana Taylor.
I do, but I'm saying I don't remember the actual.
You don't know this movie? You
It's
don't know
fine.
this movie?
Which movie?
It's
It's a
fine.
Medea movie.
I was very
Then I
much
probably
just
saw it a
being
long time ago,
inspired
just don't
after
remember it.
Nicole.
It was good.
I have to do it in Nicole fashion, you know?
It was good.
I gotta look it up because Medea's Big Happy Family. That's what it was. I don't know what made me
too
think of
much.
like. I don't know why I was thinking about lottery ticket. All right.
Y'all are too much.
We're not finna play today. All right, George Kittle. He is battling a foot sprain, I believe. He's day to day, as the reports have said. I know.
cannot
That's how they
trick
get
me.
you. That's how they
You
get
cannot trick me.
Uh-huh.
He does this every time. He always like, oh,
Bye.
his knee is hurt. Oh, and then he gonna house something. I'm not falling for his
The
antics.
reports say.
Per the reports.
I'm just going by reports.
Sister
the next
said, I'm
gen,
trying to
I'll-
do my job.
I'm just
2024 has ruined
going
all my
by what the
trusted
reports-
reports.
I
I
know
said,
what?
you know what? It is a Wednesday. It is
don't
too
trust
early
any
for
reports.
this.
I need to stop trusting these reports, these stats,
I
because I'm
guess.
sick and
Jeez
tired.
Louise.
You cannot
Okay.
trick me.
Okay, no, George Kittle, he can do damage at all levels. Another stat, next gen, you better not be wrong today. He caught a pass at all four
trust
levels of the
issues for
field
me.
versus the Chiefs. He's the fourth tight end to do so in a game in 2024. So when you talk about George Kittle, who will have the biggest challenge having to stop him?
I don't know. I was trying to get that out of the guys today, and they just weren't wanting to talk about
Okay.
the game at all.
Wow. So they're just locked in.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't want to talk about. Okay.
They didn't really want to talk about much today, actually.
great.
Well,
But it
quiet
was like
locker
in a
room
good
sesh.
way though.
Yeah.
It was very much like
Yeah.
we're not doing analysis and questions. We're just we getting a W. That's it. That's all we got for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna
That's
do
all.
it. Oh, that's good mentality to have.
Yeah.
And even like on the iPad, I saw a lot of iPads in the locker room of watching film, which
love
like
that.
you only see.
As
Usually,
a matter
there's
of
like a
fact-
select few where you see, but I saw more today than I usually did.
I would say this is the first time, and I know this don't answer the question, but this is the first time all year that I really felt like hostility. Like it was very much like we just don't like them and we want to beat them, and it's like, well, what do you think about it? We don't like them. We want to beat them.
I'm actually okay with that energy. I'm okay
I'm
with
very
that.
much okay with it. I'm
I mean,
a fan of that
shoot,
energy.
after the last how many meetings, I wouldn't like them either, and I'd want to beat them too. And if this is your opportunity and your window to finally get that, like, or slay that dragon, like, look, take advantage of the fact that they don't have their star weapons in and just win. Boost your morale, slay your
agree.
dragon, because it's so storybook, truly, to be in this position, to have come off the bye week. You have a chance to get some of your star players back. Their injury list is a laundry list in San Fran for the most random things too, and most random things. But then you also just have the narrative that's followed you of San Fran having your number constantly. Like, I'm tired of hearing about that too, and so are they. Like, that's the vibe. To your point, Jazz, that's the vibe I got too. Of like,
Yeah,
they're
they're
sick
over
of
it.
hearing about the 49ers being able to easily beat this team.
I
They're
just
tired
really
of
like
hearing
seeing
it.
them have that attitude for once, because sometimes they're a
Yes.
little too even killed. So to see them just be kind of like annoyed and
Yes.
just pissed off and just like, I'm ready to go kick some ass, I'm just like, yes, hold on to that.
Yeah.
But to answer your question,
Back on
Yes, you
topic.
do.
I'm not gonna pretend like this is high level analysis. This is very much a just like me thinking about what I've seen from both players. When I
Yeah.
think of Kittle and I think of who's most likely to be where he is when they're trying to use him to do what he does, I think of Overshown. Like, who are you thinking of?
Because he attacks every point on the field, I think he might be better suited dealing with them with a safety. And
maybe
that's
Which one?
Which one?
neither one of them.
Donna?
Okay.
It would be a Marquise Bell or it would be a Wanye Thomas to me, just because he attacks to your point, every point in the field. I don't want a linebacker, albeit a former safety and Overshown, having to go to the deep third of the field. It stresses me thinking about it.
Yeah.
So to me, this might be an opportunity where Zimmer maybe calls upon one of these bigger safeties to come in and be able to do some things with Kittle, man. Like, it's the way that they get him and they use him, and the way that they use Juszczyk, which I know, like, I'm sure you wanted to talk about, their fullback, is some of the alignments on the line of scrimmage. They use those two in motion more than really anybody else, and they shift. Like, in the way that they do it, they're trying to shift power to the other side. And they just do little subtle things where Kittle will look like he's about to block inside, and he just slides to the outside. And it's just, he just drifts a little bit. The other receiver's job is to take the cornerbacks out of the way, and it opens up like a 12 to 15-yard run for him. It's just, they create spacing for him in such a unique way, but he also has really strong hands at the point of contact, and he is a tough person. I was about to say that word. He's a tough human being that plays for San Fran. But one way that you can wear him out, and I have seen him wear out in games, which the Cowboys just don't have like that, is run game. And also too, as far as like with him going up against this defense, make him have to work for everything. Like, it's and again, he's gonna have to come in and chip a lot and help out with this offensive line, because they're struggling at the tackle position. People can say what they want to say. We love some whether Trent Williams gets suspended or not, he's not playing at the level that I've seen him play at in previous years. So they're getting a lot of pressure from the tackle position, 51 pressures to be exact. They've given up 4 sacks from the tackle position. So I do think he's going to have to help out a lot with what they have going on the offensive line. Make him pay.
And honestly, to your point, I think that's part of the reason why, as effective as he is, even every aspect of their offense seems to have taken a step down from past years, even though it does look similar. But Kittle himself has not been getting as many yards after catch as he normally does. And I feel like that's part of the reason why, what you're mentioning, because between him having to help the tackles and Brock Purdy holding the ball, it's like he's not as free to just like go do exactly what you were talking about and focus on getting those receptions. So he's getting them, but not at the same rate. So I think you're right. If the Cowboys can take what's been working to kind of stall him or lock him into a position where he has to help, then they can really take advantage of that and force the offense to have to use other weapons.
Yeah. And for the Cowboys defense, in terms of Kittle, and my worry about comes from, yes, the yak yardage, but the chunk plays that he can definitely create on all levels of the field. The Cowboys defense, Next Gen Stats, we're really counting on you today, girl. According to Next Gen Stats, it says the Cowboys have a 97.1 rate of passing attempts allowed, which is the 23rd least in the NFL. So if you put all the math together, that's almost 8 yards per attempt that they're allowing per chunk yard at this point. So again, if you get a George Kittle to really take advantage of that, and to both of y'all's points about the linebackers and the safeties, if both of those position groups are not tackling well, this comes down to the basics to me. You can shut him down if you're tackling and not allowing the yak yardage, but furthermore, if you're not allowing anything to come from what is happening after the catch, because you're talking at this rate, a rate of nearly every single time being a first down, not even challenging these guys on second or third down. So for me, my biggest concern is, I want to see after this bye week, we hear a lot about the across the hall meetings and what was addressed and the fundamentals and all the things. How is y'all's tackling now? Because George Kittle is really going to be your test to see how well you're tackling.
And Jordan Mason.
Yes.
Jordan Mason is leading the league in missed tackles.
Yeah, we touched on him yesterday. But go ahead.
Sorry,
Go ahead. No, seriously, go ahead.
Sorry, my bad. But yeah, no, between Debo and Kittle and Jordan Mason forcing the missed tackles, and Mason is getting 3.7 yards after contact, which is like that's normally the minimum.
No more Next Gen no more.
That's normally the minimum of what you want from a running back run is like 3 point something yards. He's getting that after contact. So I really feel like
53 missed tackles. It's crazy.
53 missed tackles is crazy. And then you compound that with the fact that the Cowboys have the worst rate of missed tackles allowed on the defensive side. So I really feel like the game could literally come to that. Have the have the Cowboys defensive players figured out how to tackle and bring a guy to the ground and not let them get a bunch of yards after the catch, a bunch of yards after contact, a bunch of yards past the line of scrimmage. Like that's going to be the test, because if they haven't, it doesn't matter what else they do or what scheme they come up with. If they haven't figured out how to get these tackles right, it's game over.
You also can't allow Shanahan to open up his offense. You can't allow the running game to open up the passing game, or vice versa, because guess what? They can do both. Must be nice. But you can't allow things to get hot. You can't allow those chunk plays to continue to happen. You can't allow yak yardage. Like, if you shut it down, tackle early, and you out-physical this team, you can pretty much do, I'm not going to say exactly what the Chiefs did, but you can pretty much achieve kind of what they did in confusing Brock Purdy in those dropbacks and everything there as well. So,
what have y'all seen from Jacob Cowing and Ronnie Bell, their backup wide receivers?
Well, I think is Ricky playing this week, though?
Well, I'm sure they're going to be limiting his snaps, though, just because of, I know he only played 48 last week.
I want to say,
I don't expect him to be doing too much.
Didn't see a whole bunch from Jacob Cowing last week. I mean, he just kind of out there running routes, it felt like. But Ronnie Bell is a guy that has some speed to him, has some suddenness, can get behind a defense. It's gonna be interesting to see where they generate who is their go-to guy, to your point, because Juwan Jennings is someone that I'm not sure. He didn't practice yesterday with a hip. Doesn't seem like he's gonna go. So I will say, even from a Ricky Pearsall situation, one of the most dynamic receivers in this past draft. And when you talk about his fit for the 49ers, the yak ability, the toughness, the tough hands, I wouldn't be surprised, like, to your point, they are going to be slow playing him, but I do think that they might try to get him involved in this game and get him some comfort and things like that. But y'all, this starts up top. Like, this starts at the front. This starts with this offensive line. Watching against the Chiefs specifically, the Chiefs have a fantastic defensive line. Let's just start there. And their linebackers fly the heck around. But, man, this 49ers interior offensive line really doesn't get a lot of push in the run game. They're not really they're doing inside-outside zone, and it's just not. And that was something I wanted to mention to you when you brought up Mason that made me excited to mention, is that he's not bouncing to the outside. Right. He's not attack the edges guy. He's attacking where they're running is straight up the interior. And I would rather that. I would rather that.
For our guys, yeah.
Yeah, I would rather that. I think this team thus far has dealt with running backs who run the ball like that. Don't get me wrong. So most of his running is vertical. It's not horizontal, it's vertical. And I think our guys collapse better and tackle better when dealing with a guy that's not super duper shifty or can capture the edge. So that's one of the differences between him and McCaffrey, is that they run the ball different. It's a lot more boring. And it is not. It can be explosive, like they'll get a good play every now and then, but for the most part, it is just not. They're not getting enough push on the interior. Their tackles, where they have their strengths, are still having some trouble too. I mean, it's just different.
A lot of the running backs who have given us trouble this year have been running backs who have been attacking the edges. Like the ones who've been getting like 100+ yards, they've been attacking the edges. So that's why I'm like, yes.
But another problem has also been that our defensive line hasn't been able to get off blocks. So if you can't get off blocks, then how are you going to congest the inside?
I mean, I agree with you. So that means, again, like we talk about the safeties, you talk about the linebackers, it does put a lot of stress on them. I'm not 100% sure, but I thought we saw that Jordan Phillips was back on the practice field today. He could help just getting some penetration up the middle, because people can say what they want to say about his film last year. One thing I did see was somebody that could still vertically get upfield and rush the passer and be a little disruptive. The Chiefs had a lot of batted balls too. The kiddo is not seeing things the way that he wants to see them. This is an opportunity for. He's still a nugget.
Even though our D linemen haven't been getting off blocks, I think one thing that we have seen in a couple of instances in some of these games is their ability to allow opportunities for the linebackers to get where they need to go. So I feel like if they can, work synergistically it can still do a lot of good in terms of stopping someone who's attacking the middle as opposed to attacking the edges.
I want to say to Aisha's point, too, I won't say who said it in the locker room, but I will say I had a player, because we're talking about all the injuries kind of on the 49ers side of the ball, and specifically within their run game and how it changes the run game. And somebody in there was like, oh, yeah, I mean, it's an even playing field for us right now. Like, if this is the year to beat them, this is the year to beat them, and this is the time to do it. Like, to both of y'all's points earlier about kind of their confidence going into this game, they see it. They noticed the scheme change because of what they already started diving deep into without Christian McCaffrey. So there's that. But I also wanted to knock on your point, too, Nicole, about something I've noticed about the 49ers is, Christy always mentions this a lot, is how we're so enthralled in, like, Cowboys world, and we think that, like, that way is the only way things operate sometimes. And what I've noticed about the 49ers and kind of how they operate is it's very much no time for BS. And my biggest solidification of that was how they handled things with Trey Lance. Everything, and even talking to Trey and talking to other people about how they handled the situation, it was very much like, yeah, we don't see you contributing, done. We don't see you contributing, not going to continue to have further conversations about it. So to me, if these guys are on the field and they're being put on the field, it's because coaches, ownership see the potential that they have to contribute, not in the future, but immediate contributions. Because to me, it seems like they don't have the mindset of, hey, they can contribute eventually. It's they can do it right now. So just want to put that out there too about, hey, maybe these guys are a little bit younger, especially in the receiver room, but they wouldn't be out on that field if the 49ers didn't think they can contribute right away.
Well, I mean,
that's how our guys should be thinking about it.
Anyway.
I hope they do.
Sorry.
I'm
Listen,
dead.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one that said that.
Nah, I second it. I hope they fail. Nemesis. Philly,
All right,
enemy. San Fran, nemesis.
We got to take our second break, ladies. Sorry, you're watching Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw. We're going to be talking X Factors up next, so stick with us.
The Dickey family always mandated that the only Polish-style sausage worthy of their restaurant must have high-quality coarse ground beef and pork, rich spices, and fresh natural casings. We still serve it to this day, and it's so popular, Dickey's sausage has been named the official sausage of the Dallas Cowboys. The perfect matchup on game day. Dickey's Barbecue Pit. No one outsmokes us. Order at dickeys.com. For groups, call 866-BARBECUE.
Dibs on the ribs.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby. The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that sixth ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Parents, get ready for a spooktacular time at Little Stars, presented by Nuna on Wednesday, October 30th. This free Halloween-themed event is perfect for your little pumpkins. Oh, so cute. Ages 5 and under. Although I guess anybody could be a little pumpkin. Really? Okay. Anyways, join us from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. for fun activities, silly games, and lots of treats. Visit thestardistrict.com for more information.
Bam, 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 bam.
Nah. What if I came in and I was like, oh, you guys are my little pumpkins.
Sure.
I'm screaming. Not
How
sure.
about, since it's Halloween season, you know how you call everybody nuggets? What if they're little pumpkins for the season?
All right,
I love that.
a pumpkin.
You
All
can,
right.
you can have little pumpkins.
Who's y'all's pumpkin X factors?
Little pumpkins. Big pumpkins.
Secondary, in the secondary. Go.
Trayvon Diggs.
All right. Go. My bad. I just kind of.
I know. I'm gonna go Marquise Bell. Was that secondary, technically?
Yes, he is a
Alright.
safety again.
No, yeah, right. I had to think about that. I'm gonna go Marquise Bell.
Malik Hooker.
I guess I'll be different.
I said Trayvon, although I'm secretly hoping that one
I was
day
gonna say
gets
AO.
some field time.
I'm gonna say AO.
Yeah,
Only because I feel like they're gonna
he gotta get some respect on
target.
him.
Amani Oruwariye.
Oh, you said
I've
it.
been practicing.
That was good.
did
That
a
was
good
very
job.
effortless.
Damn. Sorry, I'm done. All right. X Factor. Pumpkin X Factor. I just took the pumpkin thing.
It's almost
Just
Halloween.
running with it. Pumpkin X Factor in the linebacker room. Go.
F word. F word.
That's crazy.
Out of the whole linebacker core. Mm-hmm. If Damone Clark wears the green dot, it's gonna be him.
Okay.
Oh, I like that. That's a good one. Skip me for now. Let me think. It's because I'm trying to articulate what I want to
nuts.
say.
That's no.
Overshown.
Okay.
I like that one. I like that one.
If you ask me about linebackers, the answer's always
I would say
Overshown.
Damone if he wears the green dot.
Yeah,
If
I
not,
like that one.
I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go Lufa.
Yeah.
Ooh, I do love
Yeah.
Maris.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Little Foul.
Yeah.
All right. X Factor. Pumpkin X Factor. Defensive line. Go.
Osa.
Mozzie.
Dang, that was quick. The hell?
I'm having a tantrum.
I'm just
shut up.
trying to beat everybody else because y'all say
You said Mozzie?
Y'all say the ones.
I said
first.
Osa. She said
I said
You said
Mozzie.
Mozzie?
I'm gonna go Mozzie.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
The one thing about Mozzie is I feel like those across the hall meetings could have really
Absolutely.
benefited him. I haven't seen him to ask him, but one thing about Mozzie, he will take feedback, so I'm interested to see how that translates.
I'm gonna go Chauncey.
Oh,
We need some some pass rush.
I don't have an
Absolutely.
option. I don't have
pick
anything
one.
to
do.
say.
Pick one of ours.
You can pick one of ours.
Yeah, you can double down.
It's not the same though.
Double down. Say it with your chest.
Wow, that's crazy.
I would say. I don't have one.
You sound
I would
stressed.
say.
Yeah, why are you stressing? It's only Wednesday.
I hate to say this,
Which
guys,
means it's
but
almost Sunday.
there's.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say Carl Lawson. He's starting to generate more chips and
Good.
stuff.
I like
People
that.
are starting to
That's good.
respect him a little bit
like
more. I
that
don't know
too.
if he's just getting a feel or whatever, but you're gonna need to get some pressure.
All
Or
right.
whatever.
X Factor, Pumpkin, X Factor as a whole defense. Go.
As a whole,
Yep. One person.
Demo.
Maris.
I'm stressing y'all out. I love this.
Demo.
As a whole,
As a whole. Who do you need on this defense to play very well
Demo.
for
Donovan
this team
Wilson.
to have success?
Donovan Wilson. If he's doing safety stuff on the back end and he's also helping out in the run, you need him to be the playmaker that you've been looking for him to be. Also, to maybe bring a safety blitz up the middle every now and then. Like that's something that that's giving San Fran some trouble getting some pressure up the middle. So, Donovan,
Donovan.
we
All right.
beg of thee.
Well, ladies, this has been very fun. It's 4:47. We gotta go.
That is it,
Wrap it up.
Aisha Morrison, Jess Navarez, and Jasmine. I'm Nicole Hutchison. We will see y'all back here tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!